Now, I have been looking into a supplement that I am using currently called Creatine Monohydrate. Okay. Please tell us more about it because I really want to know what you think about it.
So I think the usual confusion is between creatine and creatinine. And creatine is the supplement, as you mentioned. And sometimes people confuse it with creatinine, which is, you do your serum creatinine
Yes,
levels.
yes.
And people think that if you have creatine, you'll go into kidney failure. So that's one thing that I just want to get out of the way. They're not the same chemical, the same compound, and just by having creatine, your creatinine levels will not go up. If you have normal kidney function, if you're not someone who suffers from kidney damage, then creatine will not damage your kidney. So that I think is an important thing to start off with. Now, creatine is actually present in a lot of foods naturally, but um the requirement is much more, our daily requirement is much more than what is present in food. So, creatine monohydrate, we take it as a supplement, but actually it is present in a lot of foods itself. Now, when we take it in, it provides what we call a phosphate molecule, and which is used in the production of ATP. Now, ATP is the final packet of energy which allows us to do everything, to think, to move, to lift weights, to do everything. We need ATP. ATP is the final sort of boost of energy. That's the molecule that we need. So it helps in that ATP production. That ATP production means it will help us use our muscles more efficiently. And now recent data is very encouraging towards using creatine for cognition and for jet lag and for brain
Jet
fog.
lag.
Yes. So recently, I think it was Rhonda Patrick who was talking about it on the use of higher dosages of creatine monohydrate.
I take 5 grams on an
Mm.
average. It must be dependent on weight, right?
The standard is 3 to 5 grams. They usually say 3 to 5 grams, but now we're realizing that 3 is really low, that 5 almost everyone needs, some need even more. There is some interesting data coming out of Alzheimer trials, which is showing that creatine may help there. So there's a lot of new stuff happening with creatine, and it's a relatively safe molecule. It's been around for a really long period of time, and safety net is huge. So they said if you don't really suffer from any medical illness, then especially renal illness or any other thing that
And then
allows.
best to get your labs checked, no?
Exactly. And then it's just it's not a very expensive, it's an inexpensive supplement. So it's one of those that one should really include in their day, because risks are too low and benefits can be many. And for women especially, because women tend to be low in
So for hormonal health post menopause or perimenopause or post menopause, do you recommend about 5 extra grams a day or more?
5 grams every day. Like I would, like the day I landed here, for the next 3-4 days, I took 10 grams because I had just recently read that stuff
The
about,
jet lag.
yes, and I feel like I hit the road running because I was doing talks the very next day, and it was really hectic the whole trip. But I feel maybe it was psychological because it's just one data point. But the point is, I feel I recovered much quickly, but it's still to be explored, and I want to read a lot more research. But it's interesting to take it. There's also people there's studies on poor sleep, like the day you haven't slept well, perhaps take little extra creatine. Yeah. So
Very interesting. So basically, I want to share with the audience and I want to share with you. I'm getting all this free medical advice here.
it's not medical advice.
It's not. But you know what I mean, guidance.
Yeah.
Um, I felt like I had put on weight when I started creatine monohydrate.
Yeah.
And then I was speaking to my physiotherapist, and we were just chit chatting over this supplement. And he said that, so he trains elite athletes.
Right.
And he said that athletes stop creatine 3 weeks before a sprint
Right.
because that makes them shrink.
Right.
So is it fair to say that I have put on weight with water retention or muscle girth increase with this creatine
Yeah.
intake?
So what happens with creatine is it allows the muscle to pull in little extra water. So it is a bit of both. It is water retention, but that water is being retained in the muscle fiber. So it plumps up the muscle fiber.
And I have been drinking a lot more water just proactively once I started the creatine.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I anally read everything, but it was unbelievable how bloated I felt. My clothes all still fit me, but I felt larger.
Yeah. No, it does definitely make a difference. But usually, what we've seen is that creatine earlier was used very differently. There used to be a loading dose where typically it would be those young men or boys in the gym, and 20 grams a day for a couple of weeks, and then they would shift to 5 grams a day. So that loading dose is when they used to put on a lot of weight, because they used to also overhydrate then, because you had
Oh,
to,
I
yeah,
see.
yeah. So that now that there is enough evidence to say that we don't really need a loading dose. So 5 grams a day, you can just start off with 5 grams a day and just stay on it. So the impact is not as much as what used to be with the 20. The other thing is that this feeling of bloatedness, and there are different types of course, there's creatine monohydrate, but there are different purification methods for creatine, and some of them cause more bloating than others, like actual bloating, like tummy bloating. And some women will classically say, ever since I started the creatine, I'm feeling very bloated. And that can also happen just by the way that creatine was extracted. So,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
so the brand of the creatine.
Exactly, exactly. So you can change brands. There's, I think there is a trademarked creatine, which was originally from Germany, but now you see it in many brands to look for something called Creapure.
Okay.
And it's been used by, it's been it's being sold by many different brands, but it's sold under the registered mark of Creapure.
Okay, I will look that up. Creapure. So I actually switched creatine monohydrate brands, but I will look for this.
Yeah, yeah. So that's, I think, basically creatine is one of those things that I feel like minimal damage, maximum gain. What's the worst case? It won't work. So, but at least
So long as it doesn't damage.
exactly, exactly. And then everyone knows their own body. I think, like,
And so somebody with normal kidney function can safely take it.
Absolutely.
But the key is I want to feel stronger. I want my muscle girth to stay. Uh, that's the reason I started.
Yeah, yeah. But you still got to do the work. That's the important part.
So I actually take it after a resistance training workout.
So ideally, you can take it anytime. Like, a lot of the initial studies focused on taking creatine just pre-workout.
Oh, pre-workout.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's actually a part of many pre-workouts. So if you look at a pre-workout, what they've got, they'll have some creatine, some electrolytes. Some of them will have caffeine, taurine in it. Those pre-workout mixes.
Oh yeah, I've seen. Yeah. Taurine also. Yes.
Yeah. So, but creatine is initially you may see that, because during the loading phase, if you take it just pre, you can see the difference in your workouts, because you can see that your energy is a little more while doing your workout. Your run is a little more efficient. So you can see that. But as the stores fill up, then it becomes less evident when you take it. At least that's in my experience. That, after a while, it doesn't matter when you take it, because initially we are all deficient, so we are filling in all the gaps.
Correct.